Okay, welcome to the first ever Peanut Gallery podcast, and debated what name to call this, but that was an old column I wrote when I started writing for the News Times back in the 1980s, and I was still a teen. Um, but this is going to be the first one. We're going to run these on BSN Sports. We are going to run these on Facebook and CNC Media on Facebook. And I think Steve Hurd is going to run this on the YouTube channel as well. And we hope we have a lot of good guests when we're doing these. I've got a couple more lined up here in just a couple days. But tonight we're going to start things off with 1987 Blackford graduate Mark Cutshaw, who just helped with the Starliner. He wrote some of the work that went into sending that up into space from NASA. So welcome, Mark, and glad you could be here. If you want to tell some people about yourself and where you're at and what exactly you're doing.
Well, like you said, I'm an 87 graduate of Blackford High School. And I went to Purdue, the best college in the nation.
I can't argue with that anymore. I have a son.
Yeah, I was there for 6 years. I got a master's degree, bachelor's and then a master's. And then I went off to, I guess I went off to Boston for 3 years. And then I moved to Texas to work on the space program, and I've been here ever since.
Well, tell us a little bit about the programming that you just did for Starliner. And I guess that led to some other really cool things for you. I noticed that you have met some astronauts here recently as well.
Yeah, so Boeing kind of decided to put 4 cameras on the inside of the Starliner at the last minute. So we were scrambling to get this project done. It wasn't really planned, but the PR folks really wanted video badly. So they decided to put this system in at the last minute. So I had about 6 weeks to, I had about 6 weeks to write the flight software. So I was going pretty fast, but we were able to get it done. And then fortunately the flight kept slipping out a little bit. So that helped. And of course that almost always happens, but you can never count on it. But I wrote the software that recorded the video from all 4 cameras. And if you go out on the Boeing's YouTube channel, you can see the video that's captured. There's about 18 hours of video. I've seen most of it actually. I fast forwarded through a lot. I was looking for aliens and stuff like that, but didn't see anything interesting. But it's about 18 hours, but they cut it down to just the highlights. So if you go out there, you could, I guess, like a 4-minute video or something like that.
That is really, really something neat. Something I'm sure not very many people can say that they've helped do, especially.
Yeah.
You said they'd been wanting to get that up there ever since the Russians, and
yeah,
I'm sure that was a leg up. So congratulations to you, and I'm sure that was really cool, and hopefully you'll get other opportunities like that.
Yeah. Well, then you were talking about the astronauts. We have the new versions. We're having the next version of the software is coming out for the next flight. But really, the astronauts are going to be involved in the next flight after that, and they're going to have a tablet up there, little tablet PC, and they're going to be able to control the camera system from that. So we were doing a demo for them in our peer lab down there, and that's where they all came in. And I got to meet all the astronauts. Well, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I bet it was. What other things have you done as far as getting to work with NASA?
When I first came down here, I worked the space shuttle. Near the end of the space shuttle program, it was while they were building the space station. So I did that for about 5 years, and then I moved to the space station, and pretty much been on the space station ever since. Working the SDIL, Software Development Integration Lab, and that's where they test all the flight software for the space station. So I've been working in that lab for since 2001. But then other projects have come into like the Starliner, of course. And the other one was the NASA docking system. I've worked on that project too, and that's actually on the Starliner. And the first, hopefully in August, will be the first time we test that. It's the NASA docking system. when it actually docks with the space station. So
So when did you go down to Texas? Right after you graduated from Purdue?
no, I came down here in '96, I think it was.
Okay.
But then I worked at MIT Lincoln Lab from '93 to '96, I think.
Okay. Well, I've seen your brother a couple times. When I was in the insurance business, I was down in Indianapolis.
That's right.
Talked to
He
him
said
and Lisa both.
Yeah, he said you were his insurance agent.
Yeah, I was for a while. That was one of the things I did. And then
Yeah.
he was trying to get some work in Hartford City with engineering stuff that he does.
Yeah.
And maybe a good person to talk to down the road as well. I just think, what do you have, his 12th kid just graduate from high school or something like that?
Yeah, something like that.
You're trying to keep up with Philip Rivers. I don't know.
Yeah, it's hard to keep track of them all.
Yeah. Well, one thing, it was about 3 hours ago. I have been kind of doing the Corona furloughed, I don't really care what I look like thing. And actually before, I don't know if you can see that or not, but about 3 hours ago, that's what I looked like. And I looked about 15 years older than I do now. But I decided that my daughter's graduation stuff's coming up, and I don't think my wife really cared for it, to be quite honest. I'm not used to that. Boy, I had a hard time sleeping, just rubbing on the pillow and stuff. So I got rid of that. But Mark, one of the things that we were going to talk about too is you lived in Hartford City for a long time. You and Dan was in my class in '86. Your dad was a preacher at Trinity United Methodist, and I remember your dad very well. Great man, and a big Los Angeles Rams fan. If I recall that correctly.
Yes.
And spent a lot of time at your house, and I don't know how many years ago it's been now, but Mark is one of the few people that can probably say that he lived in Hartford City, and his house still there, but it is 3 blocks from where it was when he lived in it. So have you been to Hartford since they did that?
No, but I did Google it, Worth, and I see this big hole where my grassy knoll there where my house used to be. So it's pretty weird.
Yeah,
that's for sure. And then I also found where it moved to. So I was like, oh yeah, that's it.
I thought somebody actually videoed when they moved it, so I didn't know if that was out there for you to see or not.
Oh, I haven't seen it. No.
Okay. But yeah, that was a great house, and like I said, spent a lot of time there with you and Dan, and had a lot of good times there when we were in high school. And anyway, that was interesting that and I think I was there. I might have been there working at the newspaper at the time when that was going down the highway. And boy, seeing a house go down the highway, it's not like those double wides that come in pieces that they put together. It's almost like watching the windmills drive down the highway now. Here was this house that took up the whole road, and really interesting. So another thing
I remember Chris Jenner telling me that he said he saw his house going down the road. And he said, "Hey, that's Cutshaw's house. What's going on?"
Yep.
Yeah.
One thing I know is I know you've been keeping up with sports at Blackford. BSN Sports Network has allowed. I got to watch that because I actually work for BSN Sports, and I can wear my shirts when I'm helping broadcast games now. It looks like I fit right in. But BSN Sports Network, I know a couple times when I've been helping broadcast games, you sent some messages and stuff. So that's pretty cool that Steve's been able to do that, and people in Texas are following their old school.
Yeah, this is pretty fun. I started watching. I think you started last year, right? And I caught. I think maybe the third game I found out about it. I don't remember how I found out about it, but so I started watching. It was as much as I could see live. So it's pretty cool to be able to see that, see your high school sports from across the country. So.
Yeah, he does a great job, and I know football out there has really picked up. Coach C. High has done a great job, and got the football program winning again, and I really enjoy him as a coach. Think he does a great job. I know basketball wise, the girls team. Coach Mitch Waters is who's going to be a guest here before long, has done a phenomenal job with the girls basketball program. I think they'd won maybe one game 2 years ago, and last year won 10, 11, 12, and was close to even going to 500 or having a winning season, which is just phenomenal in 1 year. And especially when two of your better players are freshmen, that's a heavy load for them to carry. Did you get an opportunity to watch the girls at all?
Yeah, I caught a couple of those games too. Yeah, and I heard that I think they said that the 8th grade team, either the 7th or 8th grade team girls, were undefeated or something like that.
Yeah, they've got a lot of promise there, and the one thing you got to watch is potential. That's a dangerous word. I remember as a coach, most dangerous thing you can say is how much potential a team has, and it doesn't matter what level, pro, college, high school. Potential doesn't get you the W on the board, but I think Coach Waters works those girls hard enough, and they want to win bad enough that I think next couple of years, maybe 4 or 5 years, they're going to be real hard to deal with. And the boys, of course, has Mr. led the state in scoring 2 years in a row, which is kind of interesting for our old Bruins. They never hear that because a lot of balance, and things have changed a lot though since we were in school when Coach Straub was running things, and we got called the Indiana Pacers. We were on the sidelines. Mark and I managed the basketball team together, and we probably got more shots in than the guys on the team. And if Coach wanted us to keep charts during practice, and we'd go off during a break and start playing or shooting or whatever. And I remember him yelling, "Hey, you Indiana Pacers, I need you back over at the table." And Stroup ran a strict practice, boy. He didn't hesitate throwing people out, and he used the stats that we kept. He'd go in the office and look how things went at practice, and that was definitely a time when you earned your playing time. But we had guards. I remember it would have been my junior year, your sophomore year. We had guards. Junior Smith was 6'4", 6'5" as a guard. Yeah. Kevin Needler, who goes to Anderson University, he's 6'4", 6'5". It's just a lot bigger guys that 1 year. That class ahead of me in '85 was just phenomenal.
Yeah.
And we got to watch some good guys play out there. Bob Banner, between football and basketball and baseball, he made a name for himself, and I believe he's coaching football and baseball out there still. So
my junior year too. I was the player manager, if you remember that.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, I actually played a little bit.
Yeah.
I was basically a one-dimensional player. Actually, maybe even saying that might be an insult to one-dimensional players. But
was that with Rick Teets?
Yeah, Coach Teets. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. I remember they called him Stroup the Fury and the Fire.
Yeah, I got in during time. We were beating up on somebody.
Yeah.
Then I got in at the end. So
yeah, that happened a lot back.
I scored a few points.
Yeah. Yep, that was cool. Always that, and I remember a couple of my classmates, their junior year. Maybe I know it was Chris Dill, and I know Wendell Rogers. I'm thinking Tracy Ellison might have been, and called themselves the Minutemen because they don't get in right at the end of the game. I think they bought themselves shirts that said that. So it was kind of funny.
I think my brother was part of the Minutemen in sophomore year.
Oh yeah, could have been. I remember biggest thing I remember for your brothers, we just started. Might have been freshman baseball season, and he broke his arm.
Yeah.
Sliding, and then he missed all of Babe Ruth's season, which we were on the same team in Babe Ruth, and I remember that because he was a good baseball player. That really messed things up for the team and him, I'm sure. So let's see, what else were we going to talk about? Do we have any other topics that you're interested in?
Well, no, not really.
Not really. Well, I appreciate your time, and very interesting that some of the things that you get to do and work with, and another Blackford success story, in my opinion. And this show isn't always going to be Blackford people, but right now that's my connections, and just seeing your post a couple weeks ago about what you were doing. I had mentioned to Steve, I said, I'm going to give Mark a call, and we're going to talk about this because that's just very unusual that, not very many schools can probably say they have somebody that's participated in doing something like you have.
Yeah.
What are some of the memories you have of school? I didn't mean to throw out all of mine there.
Oh, I have to say, Harvard City was, pretty good place to grow up. Safe community, and the high school was pretty nice. I mean, it was, even though it was fairly new, I guess, when we were going there, but had a lot of good teachers, Mr. McAfee and Mr. Green and Mr. Klein. So we got a pretty good education there, I thought. I mean, it really helped me in my later studies, like at Purdue. So I thought it prepared us pretty well, I think.
Who's one of the teachers that impacted you to go into the field that you're in?
Probably Mr. McAfee, because a software engineer, so he was always, I think he probably should have been a stand-up comedian instead of a teacher, but I'm glad he was a teacher. But we had a lot of fun in his class. So.
Yep, I remember him. Computers, and I don't know what else he taught, but anything, I guess. He was one of those teachers that impacted a lot of people. And Russ Sutton, another one.
Oh yeah.
And Russ is still out there going to games and going to the pickle, and has a lot of friends helping taking him around so he can stay on top of things. And we played baseball for him, and I assume you probably played basketball for him in junior high.
Yeah, actually, I think I played football in junior high, basketball for him in junior high, and then I was on Mighty Moose Machine, of course.
That's right.
And then my last year in Babe Ruth, we won the tournament. We weren't that great during the regular season, but we caught fire in the tournament, and we actually won that thing. So
yeah,
it was pretty great.
I was fortunate enough that after my playing days, when I was I think a senior in high school, I helped coach with Coach Sutton, and
I remember that.
We ended up getting to coach the 15-year-olds. Would have been Jason Jones, Mark Donovan, Corey Doubles, and went to state and stayed there at Indiana Beach. Trying to remember the name of the city, but stayed up there, and the kids stayed with families, and I stayed in a hotel with Russ and Rich Beamer, and that was a lot of fun getting to do something like that. Just a different experience. That nowadays things have changed so much that that's just not something that's there anymore. I don't even know if Blackford has Babe Ruth. I think they have a Blackford junior high team. And again, that's, based on numbers. When we were out there, I think it was 1,100 students, and now they're down around 530, I think. So,
yeah,
it's affected some of the programs that we were fortunate enough to get to go through. And now not all the kids get that same experience. They get an experience, just not the same one that we got.
Yeah, I heard that they're combining the junior high and high school now. They're all going to be out at the high school.
Yeah, they started that this year.
Okay.
And they built an awesome new gym on. If you went out, you can't get in the first drive anymore. And it's better to go down the access road by the soccer fields.
Yeah.
That's actually, you go in back behind now. The athletic office is right when you walk in, and then you've got a gym to your left, weight room to your right, and another gym. So
wow.
Very interesting. So I've been very fortunate again to go out there, and Tony allows me to do some work out there, and it's pretty cool to get to know some of the kids. I know some of them because when we lived there this year's senior class, the kids were in my daughter was in that class before we moved over here. So still know a lot of those kids. Brandon Strobel and Dalton Willman and on and on and on. So Neely. So anyway, it's kind of interesting that I got to come here and watch her grow up with a different set of kids and still see some of the kids back home. So
yeah.
Well, Mark, I appreciate your time. It's been about almost a half hour, maybe a little bit more than a half hour, and I'm glad to have you here. And now you got the honor of saying that you were the first guest on the Peanut Gallery podcast. So not that that might mean anything. Who knows? But
Cool.
Appreciate it, and I wish you well in Texas. And as a good friend, hopefully we'll stay in touch and do this more often.
Yeah, cool.
Well, thank you very much for coming. And again, you got the clean shaven. I didn't want to steal a copyright from Wolfman Jack and have somebody calling in saying, "Hey, that guy, he's from back in the '80s." But so anyway, I appreciate your time, and good luck with everything you do in the future, and we'll stay in touch.
Yeah. Well, hey, tell Andrew I said hi.
I will do that. And to
Yeah.
everyone else, stay tuned, and we will have some more podcasts coming up, maybe this week even. I've contacted Joni Phillips, who's in 3 Hall of Fames and was one of the first standout girls basketball players. Went and played on the professional Redhead Girls Basketball League, and also going to be talking to Mitch Waters here before long. So have a few other guests that I've reached out to. We'll just see what happens. But until then, this is the Peanut Gallery and signing off.